Welcome to episode 85. Now that Savage Spur has been mostly pacified, it's time to finally finish the Yaki storyline. Let's get started. Let's talk to Shineman. Now, if you notice in my mission manager, the fate of the Yaki, let's set that to active. Now we have to choose between the ridiculous mutually assured destruction and the reasonable save them from themselves mission. It looks like the only thing we have to do is destroy the amplifier station, which I've done in vanilla, but I've done it with the Sin, and I've also tried doing it with just fighters and corvettes. It doesn't really work very well. I know you can do it, but it's really, really hard. It's not particularly hard to kill when you have capital ship weapons. It's a weird story because you start shooting it and the Yaki come out to attack you, but then there's other Yaki that are with Shineman that are defending and they're also helping you. And then when you finally destroy the amplifier station, there's this long, noisy dialogue. And I say noisy because you get dialogue between Shineman and Kennick. That's right. The woman with no face that looks like this. And the really strange name that looks like it should be organic, but it's with a C. Yeah, so they're talking back and forth with each other while there's fighting going on, making it almost impossible to hear what they're saying. Another poorly designed mission, but it should be something that we can do now. Let's give it a shot. All right. You mentioned something about powers.
Powers? I got none. I've showed off my superior maneuvers from time to time and just got lucky that no Xenon decided to turn me into scrap. All these cybernetics do for me is make me look like a damn outlaw. No chance Earth is going to take me back. At least these Yaki aren't going to kill us as long as you have access to Sol. And as long as I act like some Xenon whisperer prodigy.
What can you tell me about organic?
That woman, despite appearances, she's not the Yaki leader, and it shows. They don't trust anyone with power, but someone's got to keep them away from each other's throats, and that's how she got to where she is now. Helped me out a great deal, but that doesn't excuse what they did to us, to the outpost, and to Sol.
Why did you really disappear? Oh, that's right. He disappeared when we were doing the Terran storyline way back when.
Obelisk knocking me out is why I disappeared. That much is true. But these people didn't save me out of the goodness of their hearts. They spied on me. On us. Observed us like lab rats. And when they thought they'd found a candidate for their twisted augmentations, they snatched me away.
Sure.
Okay, not all of them are like that. Just the hardliners. But those are gaining an influence by the minute.
I need you to do something for me. Follow me. Return to HQ. What? Follow me? Return to HQ? What is that? What does return to HQ even mean in the context of this conversation? I have no idea.
Oh, I was waiting for this.
All right. Is return to HQ when you want to do this one? Because I didn't set this to active. It set itself to active. This one. I mean, honestly, I'm so tired of the poorly designed missions in X4. It's cool that the sandbox game has missions at all. It's cool. Well done, Egosoft, for putting some missions, some story into your sandbox game. But it's super clunky. Super clunky. It's very tedious if you're trying to get through the story. My gosh, it is so poorly designed. Other games, just play some other games. Do what they do. Just try that. Anyways, so now it's telling me to destroy the amplifier station. All right. Let's do that, which should be super easy with battleships. You know, I'm a bit surprised that the only two big Xenon stations in this entire sector are right next to the pirate base. I mean, there's a defense platform I took out here, and there's another one here, but there really isn't anything else other than the shipyard and the wharf. I thought there was more in this sector. I thought I've seen more in this sector. All right. Is my ship automatically firing on it? No, it's not. It is shooting at something, though. Something... They look like asteroids. I remember there being asteroids that were marked as hostile for some reason. Don't know why. Looks like we got 3 of them in range. All right. Can I calm him again? Okay, so the way you take out the amplifier station is you have to shoot the 3 bananas and the centerpiece. Let's do that. The Yaki don't like this one bit. Here they come. See, this is part of my complaint, is that there's dialogue and the weapons fire is so loud in this game that you can't hear what the dialogue is saying. So Egosoft, fix that. What do we have here? It seems there's Kurakamis that are hostile, and they're surrounded by Xenons, M's and N's, for some reason. But whatever. I mean, do we care? Stop your lackeys, organic. This is one gigantic misunderstanding. Explain yourself now. Boy, I've already destroyed the station. Normally, you're supposed to have the dialogue while you're destroying the station, but... or maybe it's when the station is destroyed. I can't remember. It could be when the station is finally destroyed that this dialogue happens, but there's a fight going on still. And I mean, honestly, they're no threat to the Asgard, but... Listen, you've got to understand that this entire project was bound to fail. All it did was keep you holed up in your system with no bright spot to light up your miserable existence. Well, that's very vague, Shinneman. You put a gun to the gate network's head and expected no pushback. What he's talking about there is this amplifier station was a threat to the entire gate network, particularly the Terrans, because it allowed somehow a straight targeting path to Earth and the Sol system, and it would have led the Xenon straight into Sol, which would have been really bad for the Terrans, keep them really busy, put them on the defensive, and let the Yaki not be the target of the Terrans for a while or something. That was their big ace card, was that this amplifier station allowed them to push a button and the Xenon would all flood into Sol and attack Earth. And that's what he's saying here. But it's not very clear in the dialogue what he's talking about. You have to kind of play through the other mission, the other one, to learn that. It's poorly designed. It's just, the story is okay. It's just that learning through the game what the story is extraordinarily clunky. And you can't hear it anyways because of all the shooting.
And expected no pushback?
And she says, you have no idea what you're talking about. Do you think that taking away the best protection we had against the Terran scourge would somehow give us hope? How delusional can you be? So she's pissed off because we destroyed the amplifier station, and Shinneman was behind the idea to destroy the amplifier station, and he's saying it's a good idea. Did you think that you could really have this and not, attract the wrath of the Terrans? And she says, did you really think that you could take away our one and only ace card and that we'd be happy about that? Are you delusional? All right, so that's essentially what they're talking about. And I'm curious, like, man, I still got targets. So my ship is going to be busy firing for a while, but I'll try and read this. You know your people best. No threat short of total annihilation would keep them from scouring the entire gate network to subjugate or eradicate everyone who dares to oppose them. Well, ordinarily I'd say no, but in my game, the Terrans sure got aggressive with Antigone and even attacked the Holy Order as well as the Argon Federation and pretty much overstepped their bounds for a while. So, she has a point. She does have a point. In my playthrough, the Terrans are quite aggressive and really shouldn't be allowed to push everybody around like that. So, yeah, I can see. In fact, I was tempted early in the game when I started seeing that the Terrans were really pushing hard. I was tempted to take the other route and actually lead the Xenon to Earth. Instead of destroying the amplifier like I just did, what you do is you lay down nav beacons that go all the way to Earth. And what that does is those are special nav beacons, the Yaki nav beacons that you find early in the story when you're starting the Terran storyline and you discover this mysterious nav beacon that's owned by the Yaki. And you remember Shinneman when he was a cadet for the Terrans? It was like, who's Yaki? And what that was those nav beacons were laid down by that crazy guy who was missing the entire bottom half of his face. And we end up killing him later, but it was his idea to lead the Xenon to Earth. And I was tempted to do that part of the mission. I was tempted to say, well, all right, I'll lay down the nav beacons. But what ends up happening if you do that is you lay the last nav beacon at Earth, and just like that, all of a sudden, Shinneman detects what you've done, and he calms you. He's like, what the hell have you done? You've betrayed Earth. And he says, screw it, cybernetics or not, I'm going to come in and tell Delilah what you've done. And he comes in, he races from here all the way to Earth. Well, and he only has to get, I think, to Mars, maybe? Probably Mars, where Delilah's base of operations is, the Protectorate's Secret Service. And he tells her what you've done. And then all of the Terrans are extremely hostile. They're like minus 30 to you instantaneously. Everywhere you go, anything you have going on in Sol will die because the Terrans will rise up against you and you become complete enemy to the Terrans because of what you've done. Now, there's another path that you can take, which is super hard. And if you can kill Shinneman, which, let's be honest, is enjoyable, before he tells Delilah what you've done, then everything is fine. You can lead the Xenon to the Earth, but you're not blamed for it. And it doesn't lead them immediately, but it puts kind of the potential for you to do it later. And it remains in your menu where you can actually do it later if you want to. You can initiate a full-on Xenon invasion of Sol if you want to, if you leave this amplifier alone. So these are big storyline decisions that you can make as the player that affect the balance of power in the entire game, which is really cool, to be honest. There's several stories like that where you have the option, based on your actions, to change the outcome and power structure of the entire game. And, you might choose to do that. Like, if the Terrans really are getting out of control, you can sick the Xenon on them in this particular story. And that might serve your purposes better. If that happens, who knows? But it's an option. That's not something I want to do, especially right now, I don't think. But, you might find that useful. So just keep that in mind, that in X4, in all the storylines, I think except the Boron, I think. Well, if you look at the storylines, there are, a matter of respect, if you take this one eventually leads you to a mission where your actions determine whether or not the Paranid Civil War gets worse or whether they make peace with each other. And that affects the game. If the Paranid Civil War gets worse, then they're always going to be fighting each other, and that will produce business for you, who produces ships and parts for ships. If you decide to help them make peace with each other, then they can form a united Paranid empire that ends up growing very powerful and potentially becomes a threat to you and everyone else in the game because they're united. So that's a decision you can make. If you go here, if you actually finish this one, supposedly there's something between the Terrans and the Argon that you can affect long term. I don't know what it is, but I got really annoyed, if you remember, quite a few episodes back at this one. I'll probably have to finish that at some point. Over here, you've got the Protecteon storyline where you're an Avarice and you're dealing with the Riptide Rakers and the Vigor and all that stuff. And that's a big story that you can have a big effect on. Down here, something for the Sargeras Pioneers. This split one is another major story that you can follow through on that I've not completed, but I've started it. That determines whether the Zyar Patriarchy or the Free Families gain power, and I don't actually know what it influences in the long term. But these are all stories that you can affect the game with, and you can only do them once. So once you've made your decision and you've taken the course of history in a certain direction, you can't take it back. You've moved the game in a certain direction, the balance of power shifts, and the consequences will fall as they may. So keep that in mind. It makes X4 much, much richer, I think. It's just really clunky how it's implemented. And in this particular case, we've got these guys. And now Organic is pissed off at us because we destroyed the amplifier, and she's bitching at Shinneman about it. So let's play that out. But they don't know. You understand me? They have no idea you're here. He's talking about the Terrans. So he's trying to make a case that the Terrans are not really after the Yaki. And she's all paranoid that the Terrans are out to kill everybody. Wait. You have to think about Shinneman's argument in the context of this fight, this particular fight. This conversation is going on over the thunderous gunfire of a Terran Asgard. I mean, think about that. Oh, the Terrans don't even know you're here. And he expects the Yaki to believe that while a Terran Asgard is ripping them up. That is hilarious. In fact, they now believe that your Yaki are unorganized. An unorganized bunch without a base. For the time being, nobody's going to bother you here. And she's like, forgive me, but that is a lot to take in. And she's actually listening to him as if she hadn't considered any of this before. That this, 50 IQ Shinneman has come in and made the simplest of arguments to her. And she's like, oh, wow, I hadn't think of that. Let me think about it. That's a lot to take in. So she will call off the forces any moment now because of that. I think we should have a talk in private. I'll try to calm the hardliners down until we've sorted this out. I think all the targets are gone. What is my ship actually shooting at? I really would like to know. It's shooting at, I think that asteroid. It's a xenon asteroid. I don't know what that means.
Until we've sorted this out.
Yay! So it just occurred to me that if you're in third person view like this and you're zoomed all the way out, that your weapons fire is a lot quieter so you can actually hear the dialogue, but I already read it so it doesn't matter. Let's go. Now, the mission says talk to Organic. Let's do it. Am I upside down? I am. For some reason my Asgard is upside down. Okay, they want me to dock, but I'm in a capital ship, so I'm either going to have to dock with Pier, or I'm going to have to get in one of those Gians and dock that way. Yep. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. Because there's something you have to do afterwards that you need something small for, so let's hop in this.
Gian.
Hello.
Hi. Wow, an attractive X4 NPC. Imagine that. Most of the people in this game are so ugly. Here we go. All the S's are busy mining. They got to rebuild. Weird cockpit, this Gian. I tell ya.
A little Gaulish told me that the gates of the Terran Protectorate might have been turned away from us for the time being. Come in, come in.
Yeah.
The ship will be undocking soon.
No, you can stay there. Yeah, I have to say, it's a rare thing in X4. Very rare. Okay, off we go. But I was going to tell you, what I was basically saying is that the cockpit of this ship is really strange because you're staring at this narrow cutout. There's no side view. How are you supposed to fight? Very weird. Okay. So this is the Gian, which we haven't really ever walked around. And this is the ship that I landed on the back of the Odysseus, the Deimos, to act as an extension of the turrets, because the Gian has 6 medium turrets on its back and none on the bottom side. So all of the turrets are usable in battle. And the ship itself will be protected by the shields of the capital ship that it's sitting on, which is cool. Contingency suite. Now this entire station was destroyed in the previous save that was the entire reason that we're doing this now is because this station got blown up by the Xenon, which never should have happened.
I must say, working with you has been a real roller coaster. But it seems that, despite the confusion you keep causing, you've managed to maneuver us into a position everyone can be reasonably content with.
It's called content.
We're really running out of rewards here. What would someone like you appreciate? We don't have much in terms of resources we could share. Everything our freebooters have brought in so far went straight into repairs and research. If only we didn't have to worry about the Xenon whenever we make a move, we could actually expand our operations.
Sure.
Now you're talking my language.
Who invited this clown?
Yeah, good question. I don't like him.
Allow me to introduce myself. Dalbusta, political analyst, private tutor, and bon vivant extraordinaire.
Yeah, let's leave those two alone for a while. To me, it seems like we've done enough good deeds for one lifetime, huh? And since you seem to have things under control, I guess I'll subject myself to your command now. Wing leader.
Yeah. So Dal and Organic are talking to each other. Okay. I can't even talk to her. I still can't believe what she's done to her face, as in she's removed it and replaced it with apparently Xenon augmentations. Terrible. How do you eat? It looks horrible. Honestly, who would do that? That makes the Borg look reasonable. Okay, find armored lockbox. Now this is what I wanted to do with the Geon. Who's firing? Are you serious? We got ends buzzing around the station. Firing? What are they shooting at? There's Shinneman's at long last. This dummy. I tell ya. He's got a cool ship though, eh? Look at this thing. It's got 5 big guns on the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5th one in the center. Pretty cool ship. I might take it. But now, apparently, Shinneman works for me, so he's one of my crew, and I can put him to work wherever. I could make him, you know, if I really wanted to, I could just stick Shinneman on a mining ship in Orc Cloud and just forget about him. Excuse me, miss. Can I have that seat? Oh dear. You know what? I can't actually do this in the Geon. The Geon doesn't have a main gun. Alright, I'm just gonna dock back on the Demos. Yeah, the Demos is fine. We'll dock on the Kronos.
Get off my radar.
Those are my light Mesons. There's 6 of them on this ship, if you can believe that. That's pretty impressive. And those things take down fighters real fast. Now, in order to do the next thing on my mission, I have to collect lockboxes. And I have to collect them with something that's small that has a main gun. So I think I might get either back in the Irkunji.
That's just not good enough. You're wrecking my shields.
Well, she might be good looking, but she's not a very good pilot if she thinks this is how you dock. Come on. You can do it. You don't have to hug it that close. Wow. Very interesting docking technique. Now, what I should do at this point, I will teleport to the rodent, which is still in deep space.
Entering
in
system.
wretched skies, where I forgot about it. And I'm trying to remember whether or not the rodent had a mission to get its acquire a captain. A little upkeep mission.
Can I help?
Okay, you're gonna work on the rodent as captain. Assigned.
Acknowledged.
How about that? So, after you do the Yaki storyline, the role of the litigious rodent changes. It no longer has the Yaki cover, and you can assign a captain to it, finally. So you can automate it to do things, whereas before you couldn't. Now, I wonder if it's lost its colors, because it had a really cool paint job. But ever since I refreshed my paint scheme, all of my ships have changed to green, and I don't know if that includes this one. Let me see here. Oh no, I see purple. Oh yeah, okay, so this did keep its Yaki paint scheme. That's cool. I like it. Looks good. So now I can use the rodent all I want, and I never get that annoying cover activated Yaki every single time a Xenon shows up nearby, with the added annoyance that you no longer own any of your assets until the Yaki cover is deactivated, which is super annoying. It's okay for a little while, but it gets really annoying long term. So I'm glad that's over with, because I don't really need this ship to be a scout for the Yaki anyways. I can just use other techniques for that, kind of like I did here. I mean, look at this. I got full coverage. So now it's time for me to do the rest of this Yaki storyline. Let's finish that up real quick. Also, since I took the attractive young lady from the Jian, I should probably assign somebody else to that. Let's do that now.
Can I help?
Yes, you can pilot this ship.
Affirmative.
Yep, the cover is permanently deactivated. I'm fine with it. And here we are, back in Savage Spur. And this right here, this is the reward for finishing the Yaki storyline. It's all of these lockboxes, which have nice goodies in them.
Lockbox.
You just have to knock the locks off of them very carefully. A lot of these are exceptional quality mod ingredients, I guess. Some of them are like books. I've gotten training manuals for 5-star pilots and stuff like that. Violacious? I don't even know what that is. Lots of exceptional quality mods here. Seminar for 3-star, seminar for 4-star. Management, though, those aren't really that hard to get. Is that it? Oh, there's another one. No, not that way. There we go. Exceptional weapon chamber. Oh. Mission completed. All the guys chipped in. Mission completed. Fate of the Yaki. That's cool. All the guys chipped in. That was the name of the mission. I didn't even notice. That's sad. I was going to take a look at that. But yeah, so that's done. You've collected what little the Yaki could afford to reward you with. Okay. It's strange that they put it out here rather than, you know, just giving it to you in the base. But yeah, it's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Well, that sure is something that's been waiting a long time to finish. I checked back and it was episode 24 that I did the Yaki storyline part 1. And now it's wrapped up. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.